They don't know that my heart is trying to scream and shout, 'cause they don't ever wanna listen. You're breaking me down, but my heart is broken enough to know that they never wanna fix it. I've given enough to let our worlds collide. I'm giving it up to heal the world inside and be the first one to show me love, the last one to give me up. Enough is enough when you fight for a life to live and they try to take you out. I will never let me down. Enough is enough when they saw all you had to give and they try to take you out. I will never let me down. Oh, I'll do the shield that will take your voice. Now you know I'm stronger now. Enough is enough when you fight for a life to live and they try to take you out. I will never let me down. They don't know that my heart is trying to scream and shout, 'cause they don't ever wanna listen. You're breaking me down, but my heart is broken enough to know that they never wanna fix it. I've given enough to let our worlds collide. I'm giving it up to heal the world inside and be the first one to show me love, the last one to give me up. Enough is enough when you fight for a life to live and they try to take you out. I will never let me down. Enough is enough when they saw all you had to give and they try to take you out. I will never let me down. Oh, I'll do the shield that will take your voice. Now you know I'm stronger now. Enough is enough when you fight for a life to live and they try to take you out. I will never let me down.
I see you in the reflection of yesterday. Looking back and all I see is you. The nights are cold, but now you're far away. You were the flame that kept me warm, made me feel new. Don't forget me now, don't forget me, don't forget me now. 'Cause
Hello, welcome back, everyone. It's part two to the BBC News reviews article. I'm done at the dentist. We got 9 people in the chat. It's a bit of a small number so far, but I'm happy to all you 9 who appear here. Maybe we'll get more people joining in for the stream as time goes on because when I left you all a few hours ago, there were 80 plus 90 viewers or something like that, which is awesome. We'll get there, I guess, but I think that we should just get right to it, continuing with reading through these little reviews. I understand if people think that I'm way too harsh on the content that they put up here. I understand, just like most people, that it's more just supposed to be kind of an entrance into Eurovision for the general viewer and stuff like that. But I guess where my criticisms, when I think that they're kind of relevant, is that what's it called? Is when you're overly pessimistic and overly negative about something that you want to present. Um, I think like offering up these kind of reviews that are overly negative to an audience who don't really know what to expect is kind of altering and adjusting their experience to something. Because I'm just thinking like the concept for, let's just take Latvia because it's right above here, like kind of like putting in the idea of sounding like someone's pushing cupboard of saucepans over a cliff. like like leaving that impression on the audience so that they know that, oh, this is gonna sound awful when they turn it on, when they turn on the song, and then maybe some will miss out. That's kind of where the issue lies. I think that you kind of have to offer up a little bit of both. Like you could like it for these reasons, and you could dislike it for these, and that's the sort of um, that's the kind of review that I would have probably wanted if I was completely not involved in what I was about to see, and I wanted to learn a little bit of stuff and like read up on it. Then I would like to know that, oh, you might like it for these reasons and you might dislike it for these reasons, and then kind of overall create an overarching review in that sense. But that's just me. It could alter and differ between so many people and what they want to get from a review. But I just feel like sometimes the humor in some of these reviews are a bit maybe not carefully presented, let's say. But we're gonna get through more of the reviews. I hope we can stick. Like some of these reviews, I think are really good. Some of them are leave a little bit to be desired, but I think some of the better reviews that has been written here would probably be. Uh, I think maybe the one for Georgia is pretty like it's very negative, but it has a lot of um, explanatory parts to it. There's also um, possibly like ooh, yeah, like the Denmark one might have been pretty good because it actually like goes through some of the positives and stuff like that as well. Gives a lot of context, which is always really welcoming when you want to present something for the audience. Um, Czechia, I think that's a good review as well. I'd say Cyprus was a little bit off. Croatia was pretty much what it wanted to be. The Belgium one is good as well. There were a few like good reviews in here, but I feel like some of them also missed the purpose a little bit. And we're gonna continue with Lithuania. I'm not really sure how many we have left, but I'm thinking like almost half, I guess. So the next one we're gonna do is Lithuania, and I'll just read. We'll get into it. I'll just answer the first few comments we got in the chat so far. And Jason asks, "How was the dentist appointment?" It was fine. He said, "Oh, your teeth look fantastic," and then he said, "Like, but don't forget to floss. You know, just dentist stuff." Carrie says, "Can't believe I caught two lives today. That's kudos. Good job." Good job. And Red says, "What did I miss with the reaction to Latvia?" Well, there was a lot of stuff to talk about on that one. You can go back to the previous stream and watch it if you want to. Gary, oh my god, I woke up just in time. How did you? You woke up now? Well, how did your dentist appointment go? Went fine. Did you start without me? I didn't. We're gonna start right now. So we're gonna get into the Lithuania one, and I'll just read what it says here. Those of you who pay attention to the lyrics will discover that Monica Linkita has been through a lot. She's carried sadness with her since she was 16. She's tasted failure and had her dreams broken. The fire that burned inside her has been extinguished. But she's reaching out for help, pleading with her loved ones to stay by her side while acknowledging it ain't easy to love someone like me. It ends with the repeated phrase "Chuto tuto," an old Lithuanian folk mantra that's supposed to help people reconnect with nature and their true selves. Monica, who previously entered Eurovision in 2015, says the song is based on a time when I didn't feel comfortable in my body, and you can hear the desperation in her delivery. Only a stony heart would be unmoved. Prediction just outside the top 10. This is a very well phrased review, I'd say. There's a lot of context going on here. You can definitely tell that the author cares about what he's hearing and is involved into it, and actually done a little bit of research to actually present what the song's strengths are. Kind of lacking a little bit like it's kind of like the ending is like only a stony heart would be unmoved. It's kind of like I can't call it an attack, but there's nothing really like it feels like the review isn't really opening up for anything that it's okay to dislike it. And if you don't click with the song, then there's really nothing in the review here that actually kind of is aligned with you may dislike it because of this. It's mostly just like, oh, if you don't like it, then you have a stony heart. But I get the whole phrasing. I don't mind anything in here. But would have probably like preferred a little bit more to actually go into to the musical qualities of it as well. There's a lot of just the context and the actual purpose of the song, and maybe not so much about the musical side of things. We don't really know, like reading this review, we don't really know what to expect. We don't know what kind of song it is, but it absolutely leaves a lot of information about what the song wants to say and what how we're supposed to interpret it, which I think is a really nice touch in this review. So yeah, can't really argue with that one. We'll move on to Dance by Malta. Oh, this is a short one. Taking its cue from 2020 Eurovision icon Daddy Freyr, this is a slab of socially awkward disco funk featuring the iconic line, I feel better in my sweater. Delightfully bonkers and cheesier than a wheel of brie. Prediction, unloved by fans and bookmakers. This may drop out after the semifinals. A real shame. I mean, can't argue with that. This is this is absolutely what it's supposed to be like. It's a very short little review. Not really like it brings up the whole point of like the disco funk and this iconic line. Not too much about like what kind of performance we're about to expect, why it's charming and stuff like that. But a little bit of insight on just this is bonkers, it's cheesy, and fun. Not really a lot of context on this one though. Like if you can just compare, like if for the Lithuania, there's so much context and story behind who she is and what the song is supposed to be. Here, there's absolutely nothing. We don't know anything about these guys from reading the article, which is fine. I don't require it, but I just feel like there's a bit of an uneven spread between entries. But yeah, very short review. I'm not really a big fan of when you keep them this short. It doesn't say much, but I think like there are still parts in here that I think say something. Um, so yeah, I think we just like when we read these reviews, we just kind of have to put ourselves in the frame of mind of the person who doesn't know the songs and just want to have the first kind of impression of them. So I guess that's what I'm gonna try to do. Soarele și Luna, next one up from Moldova. Pasha, oh, what's going on here? I got a new subscriber, England Portugal 91. Welcome to the channel. Nice to have you here. Um, we're going to continue with Moldova here. Pasha Parfeni started his musical career at the age of 7, studying classical piano, and previously entered Eurovision in 2012 when he took 11th place. He's back this year with a pile-driving house track that features an unexpectedly lovely nose flute breakdown. Lyrically, it's a wedding song infused with images of nature symbolizing the harmony between the married couple. Musically, it's the sort of thing the producers of Fast and Furious would dub onto an Eastern European nightclub scene. No, okay. Nice antlers on the backing dancers. Prediction bottom half of the leaderboard. This I can't really click with. I think there's a lot. Like, this is not what I would have expected to have on an Eastern European nightclub scene in a Fast and Furious movie. Um, I can kind of get the impression, like the production approach that the song has taken is absolutely something to like really leaning into the EDM scene with actually like the sound design on mainly bass and percussion. But there's still like something very flavorful to it, and I think it's more like a listening experience than he gives it credit for here in the review. Um, but still, like it still offers like the kind of insight of what the song is actually gonna try to of this what the song actually tries to present on for the general audience, I guess. But I think that selling it a little bit short here. Lyrically, I'm not much onto what it's gonna be about, and the general audience won't know either because it's obviously not sung in English. Um, and what you're going to get from it is the performance, the engaging qualities of that, along with the song and how this kind of instrumentation and arrangement will actually deliver and present itself. And I'm not really sure if I think that this is selling it a little bit short. I think there's a lot more to really like hammer down on, actually appreciate the production quality of it, and kind of find something in it as well. Like this doesn't sound like the other songs this year. You absolutely need to like mention a little bit about like this song is unlike the others, and I think that that will actually lead in its advantage. He still predicts bottom half of the leaderboard, which means a qualifier, of course. But I think he's selling it a little bit short with its musical qualities, but it's fine. Also got some background context here of the song, so that's nice. We'll move on to the Netherlands. The only duet in this year's contest, Burning Daylight, is on first impression a boilerplate Eurovision piano ballad. But co-writer Duncan Lawrence is a former winner and he knows the value of a slow burning build-up. After Mia and Dion spend 2 minutes exploring their depression, he can't find joy anymore and she stopped believing in God. The song explodes into a fantastic, heart-tugging resolution, Goodbye Old Life. It will be interesting to see whether the duo have the requisite requisite chemistry to pull it off, though. In interviews, Dion has made it very clear they were only put together for Eurovision. We come in as two separate artists, he told one interviewer. That's also why we are Mia Nicolai and Dion Cooper and not 2014 Eurovision runner-ups, the Common Linnets. Prediction, low teens. A lot of context here as well. It's kind of like just highlighting what kind of song it is as well. It's a Eurovision piano ballad. Um, I'm not sure if boilerplate, if that's a negative term. I'm not British enough to understand this type of writing. Um, Calls it a fantastic heart-tugging resolution, which I'm not sure if people have actually felt that. Um, I haven't seen that much hype about it. That people actually consider it to be a fantastic ending. But Mr. Savage sure seems to think like that. Heart tugging. It really leaves an impression on the audience, like how they're supposed to approach this. It's gonna be a slow build towards a more explosive chorus. That's or ending. So a decent review, I guess. I'd say. Not much to say on that one. We'll go on to Norway, Queen of Kings. Um, an electric jolt of Europop with a Baroque chorus most artists would kill for, and a sea shanty breakdown that feels very pandemic fever dream. Lyrically, the song has a strong message about self acceptance. I am bisexual, and when I lived in Italy, I had to hide who I was because some of my friends and relatives would not approve, says Alessandra. So I think it's important to accept who we are without caring about the opinion of others. Alessandra also has the biggest vocal moment of the night, reaching a high E note. That's essentially a whistle tone, but they put that in the they put that in the montage. Yeah, a prediction hovering around the top five. Yeah, I mean, kind of everything is being mentioned here as well, like what type of song we're about to expect. We got the sea shanty references, we got the Europop. Everything feels like it's definitely mentioned in what kind of vein we're supposed to expect this one. Would have probably expected more emphasis to land on what kind of upbeat anthem that it actually is and um, how just massively I guess EDM influenced you'd call it. But I think that it's everything is kind of in here. The message about the song is mentioned. The high notes that a lot of people will really stick on, I guess. But Baroque chorus most artists would kill for. Yeah, like I think the melodic side of things in Queen of Kings is absolutely. It's probably like its standout part. There's something just so intense and engaging about the rhythm of the chorus melody that I think you just can't shy away from the fact. Also, like the playfulness of the percussion that goes into the chorus. I think there are a lot of things just piling on top of each other to really create this whole really memorable experience. Um, and I think what really just like there are a lot of layers building towards this this chorus that most artists would kill for. Can't really complain too much about this review either. I probably think he's quite right with the prediction as well. Not that I'm very good at predicting. We got a big one on the next up, I guess. Let's see how much he will mention about the controversies. A disarmingly simple track, Solo has a reggae pop lilt and a sing song. Here's this word again, lilt. I still don't know what it means, but he sure likes using it. Solo has a reggae pop lilt and a sing song chorus you could imagine Sarah Larson chucking out as a B side. It has charm in abundance, but singer slash model Blanka Stajkov hasn't been the strongest vocalist in Poland's televised selection process, so she'll need to work on her delivery before Liverpool. Prediction eliminated in the semifinals. I'm sure there's a little bit more to be mentioned here, but I completely understand why he's not mentioning all of the controversies because you're supposed to kind of go in it with an open mind. So yeah, And again, here you got like the positives and the negatives weighing up on each other. I guess he doesn't really find a lot to have to be said about Solo, and I guess I can't really argue about it. Um, Mentions what we're supposed to expect, and well, I mean, then it all comes down to subjectively, like if you agree and disagree with his statement that it has charm in abundance. Um, but yeah, I think it's a fair little what's it called? Little mention of what we're supposed to expect about this song. So if I'm completely honest, like I would have probably like since the song is such so catchy and so memorable and actually has like this hook that a lot of people really can easily hum along to. I think you probably would have elevated that a little bit more because obviously the song is famous already and has a lot of views on YouTube. So could have probably enhanced that statement a little bit and not just call it a Sarah Larsson B side, but still, it is what it is. Let's go on with Portugal. Obviously, a dear favorite to yours truly. So let's see what we have to be said here. Marisa Isabel Lopez Mena, aka Mimicat, brings the Moulin Rouge to Eurovision. All castagnettes and flamenco skirts. This is a big, ballsy cabaret number about love driving you crazy. My doctor said there's nothing to do. Lost case, I saw him writing too. She sings in Portuguese. Mena won Portugal's selection process despite having pharyngitis, so imagine what she'll be capable of in Liverpool. Prediction will suffer in comparison to France's stylistically similar entry. While I completely disagree with that part, this one has. Um, I'm not sure. What do you even say? Like, I don't see the similarities between this one and France. Not at all. This one is definitely more just like focused more on the energy, just the whole show aspect. Of course, we won't know how France will look when we see it live. But the song that we got going here, it's tempo, it's energy, it's just in your face all the time. It's very lively and free flowing throughout the song. I think France has more of the subtle kind of groovy tone to it. I think this one, of course, I may be just overly defensive because I really like it, but I think this is a incredibly memorable performance and memorable song that just goes all out at it from start to finish. Um, and I'm not really sure if that's really being presented here because obviously there was a lot of like France was apparently winner material, but this one is not because of what he doesn't really mention like why this one is set back. He's basically saying that the setback is the fact that it's similar to France in a stylistic manner. But that's about it, and I'm not really sure. Like, why couldn't this one be the one that outshines France? That's what I kind of want to know because everything in the review is very positive. Everything that's being said here. There's also not really too much going on about the song here in the review. I don't think that they're really talking about um, like the instrumentation, which I think is very its own thing. You don't have songs sounding like this in the selection, not France either, even though it's stylistically similar in his words. But there's absolutely something that's very unique about this song, and it is the approach, both instrumentation wise. And also like the whole playfulness throughout. The vocals are on point. The show is absolutely like the best selling aspect of it as well. It's a performance that you can really just completely click with and just be floored by. That's the way I'm feeling. Like if I put this on, my eyes are glued to the screen for 3 minutes, and I'm really just kind of I want to know more. Like when reading these reviews, as if I would have been like if this was the first time I heard anything about any of the songs, if I hadn't heard them yet, I would have wanted to know. Okay, why is France the superior one? Why will this one suffer, and why not the other way around? I feel like I need to know something that he thinks that drags down this song, and that's kind of what I want to know here. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of positives really being mentioned here. Not so much about the song, but it's mostly just about like the cabaret style of it and such. But I would have probably wished for a little bit more of elaboration there. Um, so I think we'll continue. We got Romania next up. Great photo as well. Okay. I think this is the only song in waltz time this year. Not that it helps. Don't you just want to sit right next to me with your favorite dress on the floor and your dreams? Asks Andre, to which the answer is clearly, ugh, get away from me. Conceptually, the song describes a toxic relationship and the struggle to choose between passion and self preservation. Andre, who's just 18, inhabits the psychodrama, sounding alternately doleful and sleazy and remorseful and angry, but when he sings lines like, I'm begging you, take off your clothes and step on me, it's genuinely upsetting. Prediction eliminated in semifinal two. Well, well, what a. uh, Okay, so he's sounding alternately doleful and sleazy and remorseful and angry. And it's genuinely upsetting listening to him sing. He's not holding back, is he? This is, yeah, Mark Savage. What's that his name? Was it Mark? Yeah, Mark Savage being absolutely savage here. Um, this is a harsh review. I mean, I'm not really the most like biggest fan of this song, but this is really harsh, I'd say. Um, I think like the main strength of the song is honestly just of course about the what's it called like it has a very satirical approach to it, and it obviously like kind of is being presented that way as well. What the reviewer here takes with him is of course like the subjective um perception that he gets from the song. I can't really say that I completely agree with everything being presented here. I think there's a lot of charm to it as well. But yeah, this is. I mean, if this is the way he feels about the song, it is the way he feels about it. It's very. It's kind of way too harsh because this definitely like if you're a listener who's just going into Eurovision and want to be open minded about it, you will have the thought in your head when you see it the first time that it's an upsetting song. He presents it in a sleazy way. Like there are very negative words being used here that kind of maybe takes the first time viewer in on a pretty negative insight towards the song. But I mean, at least he's not lying to himself. He's very expressive in his opinion here. Let's just say that much. Let's move on to San Marino. San Marino's entry starts promisingly enough with a twisty, sinuous guitar riff, but it quickly goes downhill. Come on, baby, I can smell you like an animal, growls singer Andrea Lazzaretti, deploying one of the ickiest shut up lines in history. Yeah, oh, I can't argue with that one, I guess. He later claims to have butterflies in my ears, raising the terrifying possibility he was growing caterpillars in there first. If you can't ignore the words, the song's a solid enough glam pop stomper, but you can't ignore the words. Um, this is actually a pretty funny review. Like I think this is really funnily worded. Um, I think this is funnily worded, but it's also. I feel like I should be open minded, but I kind of just love the way he phrased the ending. If you can't ignore the words, the song's a solid enough glam pop stomper, but you can't ignore the words. I mean, that's funny, but is it a bit harsh as well? Like this isn't something that you probably should write in your news article about reviews. I'd probably just kind of. This looks like a Twitter post, doesn't it? That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. But I'm not gonna lie, it made me laugh, this review. But I think you definitely need to kind of also. I mean, he mentions the positivities there in the early on, like the fact that it starts off promisingly. I think there's definitely something need to be said about the way that it's performed as well. I think they have a very strong performance to them. I think there's a very charismatic singer in here. Probably should have mentioned a little bit about that as well to kind of just balance out the general overarching impression that you can get from them. So yeah, we'll move on. We'll move on. Uh, Okay, Serbia, Luke Black. Oh, this is going to be an interesting one. What does he think about this? I just want to sleep forever. I like a bow when I dream, sings Luke Black in this trippy, unsettling electro banger. Can't argue with that. The song dates back to 2020, and the lyrics are very much rooted in the dark days of lockdown. I spent the last years very alienated from the world, especially throughout the pandemic, Luke told the Eurovision Fun website. I immersed myself into my bed, video games, and anime, and that's how the song was created. Musically, he conveys the oppressive vacuum of isolation perfectly, but could it be too experimental for Eurovision? Prediction just outside the top 10. Not a lot to really go for what the song is about to be. We can't really get an insight into what we're gonna hear. He calls it an unsettling electro banger. Um, but that's really all it is. Like the fact that it's experimental and that it's electro. Not really going all too much into like dynamic shifts and the actual storytelling of the song. It's very much like the context is definitely here in the review, which I'm really appreciative of because I always learn something new, about the song when I read most of these. But there's absolutely something left to be desired in the review about what the song is actually supposed to present and in what way it does that. I mean, it leaves a little bit for the imagination, I guess. When you read this review, you just know that it's going to be electronic, you know that it's going to be experimental, and maybe that's the way that it's supposed to be. Maybe when you make reviews that are more delved into, um, for first time viewers, then maybe that's not really what's required. But I definitely want them to kind of actually emphasize what makes this into what like how is this oppressive vacuum of isolation perfectly conveyed. I want to know why it is like that. That it's experimental doesn't really describe that. Like, why would this actually be perfectly presented? Hmm. Bit of a thing to consider there, I guess. Also, probably should have mentioned something about like the stage performance because I think that's absolutely a big part of this one as well. Um, mm, Interesting one though. I think there's good stuff in this review as well. Um, let's see. We got Slovenia next up. Oh, this is a very short review. Self-styled shagadelic rock band Joker Out are what the world gets for tolerating Maroon 5 for the last 2 decades. Carpe Diem sounds like rock music, it moves like rock music, and when it finishes, you will have no memory that it ever happened. Prediction bottom 5. What the? Is he for real? Okay, let's. I mean, this is not an okay review to write. Like, it doesn't matter what song this is for. This is the most narrow minded thing you could ever write. Um, Let me just like put my thoughts into words because this is harsh. This is incredibly rude. Um, I mean, people will have their varying opinions on the Maroon 5 as a whole. I don't really see the relevancy of comparing the two because I think this is a completely different style. But if he wants to do Maroon 5, the comparison there, um, then by all means do it. But can we all just agree it does not sound like moves like Jagger, like he's referencing here. It absolutely does not. But okay, we got the glossy guitars. I could definitely see like an early Maroon 5, like the 2002 stuff, the 2006 stuff. For sure. The sound of guitars maybe, you got the parallel, but to call this the fact that we've tolerated. Okay, so first off, he's basically attacking Maroon 5, which is what it is. We tolerate Maroon 5, and then we get this, which is a shagadelic rock band, uh, and you will have no memory that it ever happened. Like, you have to kind of understand that there is an audience for this type of music. I'm not sure like how big this audience is, but there's always an audience for it. It sounds like rock music. Sure, I guess it's very reminiscent of the late '90s, early 2000s Britpop sounds of Franz Ferdinand and whatnot. It moves like rock music. I'm not sure. And when it finishes, you will have no memory that it ever happened. I hate to break it to you, Mark, but I have the whole song imprinted in my head. I think there's an absolutely incredibly catchy chorus to this. I think the playfulness of the entire instrumentation, how it ties together, is something that you will remember. It has a very unique sound to it. Whether you think it sounds exactly like Maroon Five is arguable, I guess. I wouldn't really agree. I think it sounds completely different. But for someone who hasn't really been delving into the genre enough, I guess you can kind of hear like, oh, both have glossy guitars. Let's just say it's the same thing. Where I feel like this review is really just shaping up its worst kind of face, I guess, is the fact that it's so narrow-minded and just kind of goes straight to the point of, yeah, I think this is bad, and you should think that it's bad too. There's nothing about the fact that if you like this type of music, then you might like it. If these aspects of songwriting appeal to you, then you might like it. This is all about, okay, so we've been going through Maroon 5 for 2 decades. We don't like that. Carpe Diem sounds exactly like that. It's not interesting. We won't remember it. We shouldn't like that either. There's no like, what do you call it? Like it's very black and white, this one. It's simply like, okay, I don't like it. I think that it sounds like Maroon 5. You shouldn't like it because it sounds like Maroon 5. There's nothing, there's no like surface to this or substance to this. The review is just very, very straight to the point. It sounds incredibly rude as well, the way that it's phrased. Um, I think it's very hard. Like I thought, where was the review for Ireland? Because I thought that one was pretty harsh. Let's see if I can find it. Ireland, the sort of music they put in banking commercials, a grasping aspirational hymn to togetherness with lyrics Coldplay would have rejected for being twee. Wild youth, they're about as rowdy and unpredictable as a face cloth. This is harsh. I don't agree with this either. I think it's very harsh. Um, it references Coldplay here. I guess another band that he's not very fond of. Um, Still calls it like a grasping aspirational hymn to togetherness. Um, yeah, this is also like incredibly narrow-minded. Like, where are the all of the formulations? Like, oh, but if you like this, then you might like this. Um, I kind of feel like there's a lot to be desired here. Um, whether or not you like the song or not, it's none of my business. But the way that this is phrased and very just straight to the point that this is bad. That's his opinion, and you will have like you will have no memory that it ever happened. I have a memory that it happened, and I think a lot of people will as well. We'll move on. This one, I think this is a terrible review to write. It's just straight to the point, really negatively phrased. Um, it's very sad, very disheartening for an artist to read something like this coming from a what's it called, like an actual music correspondent or whatever you call them. Um, it's very harsh. There's also no need to attack like Maroon 5. Like this guy's been attacking a lot of artists, Maroon 5, Coldplay, Ed Sheeran, for no reason really. Um, the world gets for tolerating Maroon 5. You don't phrase yourself like that, do you? No, I don't really like that. Okay, let's move on to Spain. One of the most musically intriguing entries this year, Eaya is all flamenco handclaps and Arabic vocals lines, underscored with a pulsating synth line. The 33-year-old wrote the song to honor her roots. The artwork features a photograph of her late grandmother Carmen, who introduced her to flamenco, and she performs with 5 backing singers representing the power and strength of her female ancestors. A lot will ride on how Blanca's melismatic vocal performance can be recreated live. If she wins, expects lots of Una Paloma Blanca headlines. Prediction top 3. Yeah, a lot of context here. Nicely put. See, like this is kind of the depth that you need to incorporate in your other reviews. Not much for potential negatives about this one. Would have probably liked to have something being mentioned about the fact that the song can actually be very divisive and he calls it a musically intriguing entry and really just kind of what to call it, like presents the like he emphasizes that by actually telling us what the song is consists of. It consists of very out of the ordinary ideas, I'd say. There's not really much going on here about what like if the song doesn't click for you, why doesn't it click for you? It's a lot of just like, oh, this is intriguing, this is fascinating, it has a lot of these very interesting aspects, and then the background context. Um, but I would have probably preferred to actually have some kind of incorporation as well with what makes it such a divisive song, because obviously, as most of us know, the song is not loved by everyone, and probably like we need to kind of get an impression on that as well, like why is that the case. Um, but yeah. Mm. Uh, okay, let's move on. Let's move on. I'm trying to like read everything you're writing in the chat at the same time, but I can't keep up and I can't get into everything. We're gonna move on to Sweden, who have got a somewhat longer review, I guess. Returning to Eurovision as a former winner is a risky strategy, a fact that wasn't lost on 2012 champion Loreen. They popped the question. The answer was, it's not going to happen, she told the BBC's Eurovision podcast. It took me 4 weeks to decide. It was more like, what can I say in this? Do I have anything to give again? The answer is a resounding yes. Tattoo is a stormy trance anthem that sweeps you up like a hurricane. The opening melody makes a clever nod to ABBA's The Winner Takes It All, and the staging is spectacular. Already the bookies' favorite to win, it presses all the right buttons in exactly the right order, like a fabulous Eurovision lift concierge, or however you pronounce that. Not really a lot of like the potential negatives about this one either. Like absolutely, like it's mentioned here that it's a risky strategy going back to a previous winner. Probably needs to like emphasize a little bit more like the fact that people will automatically draw the parallel to Euphoria. Um, but still, the mention of what kind of song it is and why it's considered the favorite, not only like because of artist wise, but also backing up with the fact with what makes the song into something special, or the entry as a whole, basically, because he mentions the staging as well. Um, he calls it a stormy trance anthem. I wouldn't really agree on that, but um, yeah, that's okay. That sweeps you up like a hurricane. I guess that's a kind of a fair point. And then mentions the clever nod to The Winner Takes It All by the opening melody. Not a lot for like the progression of the song. We obviously have the part at the end where it changes a little bit of tone as well. Um, it feels very simplistically written and just kind of mentions the overarching feel of just having Loreen in this, and just actually backing it up with, oh, the song is engaging because it's something that sweeps you up like a hurricane. Yeah, I'm not sure. Um, Obviously, it's a potential winner. I think we're all kind of in agreement for that. But I would probably want to. I can't really click with all of the opinions here. Obviously it's not a trance anthem. Let's face it. It absolutely takes like inspiration from synth work and stuff and sound design from trance, but there are a lot of genres who have done the same. Um, Still, there are some interesting phrases here. I guess decent review. We'll move on. We'll move on. Switzerland. An earnest anti-war ballad, Remo Forer's song follows two childhood friends who used to play army games in the back garden, only to be confronted by the horrors of war as grown-ups. The similarities to 1903 music hall number Two Little Boys are surely a coincidence. I'm not familiar with what that is, so I'll just I'll just look past it. Although Forer sings with real conviction, the song is lumbered with plodding, uninspired production. A shame, as a more sensitive reading could have been genuinely moving. I disagree. Prediction knocked out in the first semifinal. That might happen, but I definitely think uninspired production, plodding, uninspired production. Like you just kind of, I'll start and just stop at the piano arrangement in this song, which I think is very pretty. It's a beautifully arranged song in that sense. It has like a lot of build to it as well, a lot of punch and drive to the song as it progresses. I think that the ending is very abrupt in it, and I'm not really sure if like it's the most carefully structured song. but I completely disagree with an uninspired production. I think it's a pretty massive song with a lot of intensity as it goes on. Um, it's a song that really like goes very scaled back. It's very dramatic, engaging in that sense, and then it builds in quite an effective way. I'd honestly say I think the final chorus is very hard hitting, and I would love to for it to continue going on. I guess Mark doesn't agree with me and probably just wants the song to be over. Uh, Preferred a more sensitive reading of it. Would have been interesting to see what that would have sounded like because I think the song really is going for what it wants to be. Um, so yeah, we'll move on. I'm not sure if his prediction could absolutely be wrong or right. I mean, Ukraine. Okay. For their 2023 entry, reigning Eurovision champions Ukraine have taken a genre swerve from the anarchic, anarchic, how do you say that? Anarchic folk punk, folk punk, okay, of Kalush Orchestra to the spooky electro soul of Tvorchi. Unsurprisingly, the duo's entry is colored by the ongoing war against Russia. Band member Andriy Hutsuliak wrote it after watching videos of the siege of Azovstal, taking inspiration from the armed forces and civilians who defended the town's steelworks. On stage, they performed the song in stark yellow and black costumes against the video backdrop of nuclear alerts and dancers in gas masks. Justifiably dark, it's probably too confrontational to win on musical merit alone, but plenty of voters will want to show Ukraine their support. Prediction top 10. A lot of context going on here as well. Nicely put with what they're presenting on stage. I think we're really like missing the song's musical qualities going on here. There's really not much being mentioned here. Calls it a spooky electro soul, and that it's too confrontational to win on musical merit. But we're not really going in for what the musical sides of this song are. I think it's a very like intriguing song to listen to from a musical perspective. I think that the production quality of it is insane. Like for real, it's one of the most well produced songs this year. I'd say it has the sound design that just blows my mind every time, and I think that you really like. What I would have wanted is for the review to actually emphasize these parts of the song, like actually talk up how well polished it is, and like these experimental sound design choices that it has, how they're actually trying to establish something more than just your average kind of electro soul song. I think you really like need to actually admire the qualities within what they're doing so differently that makes the song stand out. It did not win Vidbeer just because it was electro soul. Um, I think like we really like need to actually talk up what the song is actually doing as well from a musical perspective, not only what it wants to present and what it wants to tell us about the story between Russia and Ukraine and such. I think we need to also enhance what the song presents from a musical perspective and instrumentally and melodically. I'm missing that from this review. Yeah, prediction might be right. Who knows? Final one, of course, UK. Let's see if we're kind or harsh to his own country. The UK is in last place alphabetically and last place in the running order for Eurovision's grand final, but May Muller isn't in danger of scoring the dreaded nul point. I Wrote a Song is a frank and funny revenge track, bitter as a bag of lemons and catchier than the common cold. The flamenco guitar flourishes are a smart touch, as is the wordless chant in the post chorus, a trick she's borrowed from Lady Gaga, ooh la la, that handily transcends language barriers. It's probably too generic to top the leaderboard, but this camp disco banger is difficult to ignore. Prediction seventh place. Um, I mean, he definitely enhances like the positives of the song. It's frank and funny revenge track. Pretty catchy as well. I'd agree with that. I completely disagree with this statement, but that's just a subjective thing. I think these flamenco guitars they're so unnecessary for the overall song. I think that this, I think that these inputs are what really just kind of takes me out of the song because they feel like they have no purpose to the song. It's just like a tacky and cheeky little input to that doesn't offer anything of worthy anything worthy of paying attention to in the song. It's just like a touch that I don't think has a point of being there. But I guess that also kind of just ties into everything that he's taking away from the song, like that he takes with him from the song. It's a bit careless. It's a bit, as he call it, frank. Um, and it's a camp disco banger, difficult to ignore. He says. Um, yeah, I mean, it's obviously not my song. I don't click with it, but if he's hyped up about it, then all the more power to you. If it finishes in seventh place, I wouldn't really agree with it, but at least he's not talking it up as being the best song to ever have been written. I think it's way too much on the simpler side. I don't think that the song is really very expansive or out of the ordinary. It's a very the song relies a lot on just taking the simplest route throughout the song, and from what I would want a frank and funny revenge track to be, I would have probably wanted it to be a bit more extra, a bit more special, and a bit more creative and wacky. I guess this feels very by the books, and that's really not what's clicking for me. Sure, it's catchy, has a funny kind of context lyrically, I guess. But I think like you really need to match that musically in order for this to actually be justified to talk it up like this. Like he's very positive about this one. Really, nothing about negative sides of this one as either, which is very like this is very one note. Just like with it's not as much as the Slovenia one because Slovenia was obviously just like okay, this is bad. Everyone thinks this is bad. For the UK, it's very much like oh, this is funny, this is daring, this is catchy. Everyone thinks like that. No, not everyone thinks like that. You have to mention something about like why this song might not click for everyone as well, and I think that's being lost out here. But that is the entire. Yeah, that's everything. There's no little closure or anything either. It just ends there on the UK. What are our general overarching thoughts about the article? Let me know. Um, JH3 says, all right, Groot, as an English teacher, what grade would you give this article? Um, so in Sweden we have the system A to E, and then F is you just don't pass. I think this is around like a C. Good parts, worst parts. Every time there's like something that is very narrow-minded and straight to the point is a massive miss. But then there are a few reviews who are actually very informative. Some of them are actually quite open-minded. It's just that it's not very consistent throughout. So maybe like a C, I'd say, if I would to grade this review article. There's absolutely been some effort being put into it, but I just disagree with a lot of the points made, and some of the phrasing that he's used is honestly not okay. The one for Slovenia is, and the one for Ireland, those are not okay. You can't write that like that. If you're a professional journalist who works with music every day, you don't phrase yourself like that. Um, but a lot of other reviews, I mean, they were good. They were good. Um, yeah. Um, I think I think we're gonna try and like kind of. I'm not gonna really what to call it. I'm not gonna stick around too much. This was the point of the entire stream, so I think we'll just have a quick little ending here. I'm planning on streaming it. Who knows if I'll stream tonight? I won't announce if I'm gonna do it, but maybe I will. Otherwise, I'm probably thinking about streaming tomorrow. Um, maybe daytime, maybe evening time. I'm not really sure. But yeah, of course, I'm off work now this week, so maybe there will be a few more streams. But this has been fun. People seem very pessimistic about the review in the comments. Yeah, Fernanda, you're absolutely right. The Romania review was not nice at all either. Yeah, that one's you don't write like that either. Romania, Ireland, Slovenia, um, those are very poorly worded, I'd say. There might have been more of those. I don't. Maybe not. Um, like those were the ones where I felt like the open-mindedness was been completely thrown out of the window. The Italy one, I would have definitely wished for more substance to be put into there. You can't just call it one of the year's standout ballads without actually explaining why it is. The Malta one is very short, very brief. Um, but yeah, most of them are pretty decent. Yeah, the Portugal one, I still have some questions about, of course. Um, San Marino was pretty harsh, wasn't it? But it was pretty funny as well. Like I can't make my mind up from that. Um, yeah, it is what it is. It's all for fun. Like it's a review article and it's a little bit of fun, But what's it called? I lost my track. It's all for a bit of fun, and it's been fun reading it. I hope I haven't been going in too harsh on him, but I feel like the way that he's been going in on a few artists, then I can go in on him as well a little bit for his writing. And then all of you can go in as hard on me as you want for my reviewing of his writing. We all put ourselves in the spotlight here, put ourselves at the potential of just being attacked. So sorry, Mark, for attacking you, but you attacked my boys from Joker out, so it's all fair. Southern Lights review was terrible. Yeah, that one was good. Wasn't good either. Um, yeah. But it's been fun. It's been fun reading this. Might actually like as the what's it called, as the song, like as the contest is closing in on us, maybe there will be more stuff that we can read through together. Maybe we'll do more streams just going through Eurovision news and stuff like that. I think it's a bit fun. And it always, just kind of sparks a conversation and stuff. And it's been fun doing this, so I really enjoyed it. And we'll see if I stream again later tonight. Maybe you'll join me then. Maybe I will stream tomorrow. I don't really know when the next stream will be, but there are always things to talk about and do during the streams. So I'll think of something, and I hope that you all will have a great time until whenever the next stream comes around. So yeah, thank you all for joining me today in this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, I guess have a good one. Bye for now, and let's see. JH3 just got in a question here. Will you do a live reaction to the contest even if you don't show the actual screen? No promises. No promises. I feel like people want to see Eurovision on their own, don't they? Or like, what's it called? Like, you want to see it like either with friends, and you don't want to stick on YouTube when you watch the show. I don't think you would do that. But maybe like for the rehearsals and stuff like that, we could do something like this where we check out the rehearsals together. We'll see. But yeah, have a good one. Take care of yourselves, and bye for now.
Those memories, was it all for nothing? Was it all for nothing? So was it all for nothing? If I stay, would you run from me? If I go, would you be happy in the end? Was it all for nothing? Those memories. Was it all for nothing?